Hello there everyone, I'm Christina of CSLdesigns, and in today's video we're going to be doing something a little bit different because I'm actually going to be trying out a new webcam. So this was kindly sent to me for free to try out, and I thought I might as well share it because it could be useful for some of you. And the camera is the BenQ IdeaCam S1 Pro, and it is technically a webcam, but it has features that I've never seen on a webcam before, and it is those features that caught my interest and also why I thought it might be useful for some of you. And you'll be able to find a link to it in the description box down below. Now of course you can use this as just a regular webcam, which is also something I'm planning on doing, as I have been thinking for a while that I actually want to start up doing live streaming again. I did quite a few years back, but it's something I've been thinking about more recently again. So hopefully that will be coming in the near future. Make sure you keep an eye on it, and like I said, I'll definitely be using this webcam for that. Now aside from a regular webcam, I'll just quickly mention the other interesting features that this camera has. The first one being desk view, so you can have the camera in position and it's facing you, and through Smart Flip you can then easily just flip the camera basically to face straight down on your desk, and that way you can easily show anything you have in front of you. Next it has Handheld Mode, which is where you can easily take it off the stand that it's on and literally just point it in any direction, showing off whatever you want to on the camera, and again you can easily pop it back on the stand. And as part of the handheld mode as well, it has a macro mode, which honestly is one of the things that caught my interest the most. Now it comes with a little macro lens that you just easily attach to the webcam once you've then taken it off and using handheld mode. And then you can really get some right close-up macro shots of whatever you want to. We'll have a bit of a closer look at that later on. Anyway, here I'm just demonstrating on my laptop how easy it is to pop on and off using the stand that it comes with. So when I was first unboxing it and saw this stand, I was a bit like, what the heck is this? Because it had a really heavy end to it and I just couldn't quite figure out how that worked, but it actually ends up that it's really clever and it's easy to use as well. And as you can see, I just did the little flip feature and that works really effortlessly. You can take the camera on and off so easily, but it's still on there nice and securely. Now where I plan on using it is not going to be on my laptop. I had this C stand where I have my normal camera where I film my tutorials, I have my mic set up, and I then thought I would add it to that C stand with a camera holder that's meant for motorbike handles. And then I'll just use a thread in the holder that came with the camera that's meant for tripods and attach it that way, and then of course I can pop the camera on and off however I want to, and that way I have a permanent setup for the webcam whenever I want to use it. And then of course I just have to plug it into my laptop as well, so the camera is actually going to work and be connected to the laptop and I can control it as well on there. But as you can see, I'm also plugging something else in, so that's basically a little dongle which then connects to what is more or less a remote for the camera. So that's wireless, which is why I just plugged in that dongle. Of course you just have to add batteries to the remote as well, and you can really control pretty much anything from that remote with the camera as well, and you can have that right by your hand instead of having to say keeping the computer really close to you. That might be a little bit inconvenient. Now let's carry on and get the software working so we can obviously start to use the camera itself. And honestly, this was actually pretty simple and easy, which I always very much appreciate. And whoop, there I am. Hello everyone. So I'm just playing around with the software a bit just to kind of learn where everything is and what it all does. And at first I use the software to zoom in on the camera, but I then go on and try out the remote as well. So you can see it works really nicely. You can really zoom in with this camera as well, which is usually pretty limited for webcams with how far you can actually zoom in, and it still looks nice. Trying out the freeze button, you can mute and unmute. There's a focus button as well because it has autofocus and manual focus, and then also you can take pictures, so snapshots with the button, and you can also record video. And in case you're wondering, yes, I am listening to music while I'm doing this. And then I'm just trying to see how well it will focus on something up close. So if you hold it up in front of the camera, the usual YouTuber thing to do. And that worked really well. It was able to focus very easily on something that I was holding up quite close. Much better than the other webcam that I have that I've used in the past, which also is actually a pretty good quality one. But I definitely feel like this one is better. Next, let's try out that Smart Flip function, which this is the setup where I was more thinking it might be useful both for myself, but also for some of you maybe. So of course I start out with it showing my face, which is how you would normally use a webcam, but then I flip it down, and if you want to either show something you have in front of you, or maybe if you wanted to use it for something like tutorials, that way you only need to have one camera and this would work for all of it, instead of having multiple cameras, especially if you're just starting out. Now you might have noticed that when I flipped the camera down, the image actually ended up being the right way around, whereas when I film my tutorials, I basically have my image flipped and I have to then manually flip it the right way in my editing software as I'm editing the videos. But this actually automatically does it for you before you even get to that point, so that's also a feature I thought was really cool. Now let's just have a look at the final feature that I'm really excited about, and that is the macro mode. Now as you can see, I just easily popped off the camera from the stand, and then I'm going to grab the magnetic macro lens that easily pops on the front of the camera, and I'm just going to use it in handheld mode and get some right close-up shots with stuff that you can't see with your naked eye. I'm warning you now of some pieces of jewelry I just had lying next to me. So these are from a recent tutorials that I did for some wirework bow pendants I came up with, and I really wanted to try this camera on wirework just to kind of really be able to see all the weaving in detail and kind of get in there and see if you can find any mistakes maybe. But yeah, let's just say you can see things you can't see with your naked eye. And honestly, the macro quality really impressed me because I was a bit doubtful of what to expect, or how close and how detailed and in focus can this actually get with it also being a webcam. But I'll be honest, I'm really impressed. And it just emphasizes the more zoom capabilities that this camera has as well than your regular webcams do, at least any I've experienced. Now, as you also might notice on these clips here, is that there's some different lighting going on, and that is because the camera itself actually has a light you can turn on and off, which is mainly for when you're using the macro mode. So you're basically getting the direct light on whatever you're looking at, and it just helps with the quality even more, of course. But yeah, as you can see in this footage, you can see a lot of detail that is just invisible to the naked eye, and maybe that's okay sometimes. And of course you can also end up seeing any possible mistakes that are kind of hard to catch with the naked eye, but sometimes it kind of might be a good thing, so you can see the detail and see maybe some mistakes you made that you know to correct in the future. So final thoughts on the camera is I'm definitely very impressed. Of course, the webcam feature itself is nice quality and easy to use, and the macro feature is very impressive. So if you're at all interested in it for that reason alone, I can highly recommend. And of course, the smart flip feature with the auto rotation of the image is brilliant as well. So if you did want to use it for something like tutorials or just showing off what you have in front of you, as well as use the camera for your face. So you got multiple options in just the one camera alone. And just a little side note here at the end, the box it comes in is actually quite a nice one just to store it in when you're not using it. But otherwise, I really hope you enjoyed this video to see a new kind of camera that might be helpful for you if that's of any interest at all. Otherwise, I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching it, and I'll see you in the next one.